Last time on Short Stories.
It began just like any other night. Two friends who decided to embark on an expedition to discover a ghost house across town the way back home from school. Billy excitedly said,
"That old abandoned house, I wonder what's in there."
"We should check it out."
After dinner, Billy and Sarah head out of the house and walk in the direction of the abandoned house. The sky, which is now completely dark, has a sense of dread in the air as they walk further away from the well-lit subdivision and head into more rural area of the town. They finally make it to the steps of the porch of the abandoned house. Billy and Sarah are relieved to be out of the rain, but then Billy looks over to Sarah. He smiles at her and says,
"Ladies first."
She looks at him in disgust. "You are just the worst, you know?" Once they find the door to the basement, they hear a loud screeching from underneath the floor. All of a sudden, the lights in the house begin to dim and abruptly shut off, leaving both friends in the dark, not sure what to do.
"Oh no! What are we gonna do? It's gotta be the ghost, Billy!"
Billy replies back with,
"We don't know what happened. It could have been anything."
The two friends then grab the doorknob and say, 1, 2, 3, and the door opens with a shudder and creaking sound. Both of them are on alert as they slowly head down the stairs to the basement. He tells Sarah that she needs to turn back on the breaker to see if this was the cause to make the breaker trip in the fuse panel. Sarah, with a worried look, tells Billy,
You want me to do it? I don't know if I can."
Just as she flips the switch to go back on, she sees a shadow on the wall of the living room and then yells and drops to the floor.
"Billy! It's the ghost! Help me!"
And now back to the finale of The Abandoned House, here on Short Stories.
Billy runs up the stairs back to Sarah, grabbing her flashlight. He finds Sarah huddled against a cabinet on the floor. He grabs Sarah around the shoulders and says,
"Sarah, are you okay? What happened? Open your eyes, it's okay."
Sarah is shaking and slowly opens her eyes to see Billy with a worried expression on his face. Sarah knew that Billy was genuinely concerned. Sarah then wraps her arms around Billy and cries out,
"I seen the ghost!"
Billy looks around the room and says,
"Where? I don't see anything."
Sarah yells out that it was on the west side of the living room wall. A big black shadow. Billy then turns the corner into the living room and then a loud crash is heard at the front door. Billy then darts back into the kitchen and they stay huddled together. Sarah asks Billy,
"What in the world was that?"
Billy, who is obviously scared now, tells Sarah,
"I don't know. All I know is that it just disappeared."
They hear the front door of the house open and loud footsteps are being heard coming near them. The two friends are now scared and thinking it's some figure coming for them. They try to flank the figure by going around the island in the kitchen and getting out of the house. They get up and move slowly and as silently as they can and move in the opposite direction of the figure. The figure gets closer and they see a big black shadow in between the flashes of lightning on the wall. Its footsteps get louder and louder. Just as the teens get towards it, the lights of the house flicker back on and the black shape is now visible. Billy and Sarah look at each other and they whisper, "Let's get him." Billy and Sarah start screaming at the top of their lungs and run to the black entity. With total surprise, they rush him and tackle him to the ground. The figure, who is dressed in a black trench coat with black boots and top hat, groans and then takes off his scarf. Billy and Sarah are demanding what the figure wants with them. The figure then shakes the teens off of him. He turns out being Mr. Flaherty, the previous owner of the house. Mr. Flaherty was a big guy, about 6 feet 3 inches and about 225 pounds. He worked at the school Billy and Sarah went to as a groundskeeper. He says to the kids,
What in the world are you doing in my house?
Billy and Sarah explain to him who they are, and he is happy to know it was someone he knew. The both of them explain what had happened in the house, and Mr. Flaherty explains to Billy and Sarah why he came back. Apparently, someone called into the police station that the old abandoned house's lights were on and said they seen some teenagers in the general vicinity of the house. The police reported that the house might have been broken into, and they notified Mr. Flaherty. Billy and Sarah told him we were trying to find ghosts, to which Samuel, the first name of Mr. Flaherty, laughs out loud.
You were trying to find ghosts? Ha 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 ha. You kids never change. Billy, you are always trying to investigate things you shouldn't, and have Sarah just along for the ride.
Samuel then offers to take the teens back to their homes, as it was well after midnight. Billy and Sarah agree. When Sam arrives at Billy's house, he says thank you and tells Sarah that he will call her tomorrow. Billy shuts the door of the car and begins walking to the front door. Suddenly, Sarah yells out,
Hold up, Billy!
Sarah tells Billy that it was really sweet of him to check up on her earlier in the house and gives Billy a quick kiss on the cheek. Billy then smiles and tells Sarah,
After everything that's happened tonight, this one, I wasn't prepared for.
Sarah and Billy smile at each other as Billy walks into the house. Sam then starts to leave Billy's house and to drop off Sarah at her house. The only thing that Sarah can do is glance at Billy and smile. Sam tells Sarah,
I always knew you guys would end up together.
Sarah just smiles as they drive away. Sam and Sarah then make it to Sarah Street. However, instead of dropping Sarah off at her house, Sam just keeps driving past it. Sarah then says,
Mr. Flaherty, you passed up my house!
Sam then turns at Sarah at the stop sign and says,
Oh, that's my bad.
Mr. Flaherty slowly turns around and stops in front of Sarah's house. She thanks him for the lift, and Mr. Flaherty looks in the rearview mirror. He tells Sarah that, with a haunting look on his face,
Oh, don't worry. I'll see you real soon, Sarah.